The message boards, they weren't super kind to me in the beginning. I gotta be honest. Hi, Ben here. I just finished a long day shooting at TCM. I was eager to get back to the hotel when our social media manager, Diana, stopped me and told me, no, what you're gonna do is sit here in front of the camera and take a look at clips from my 23-year history at TCM. And this is fun, starting with my first ever intro. I can hardly wait.
Hi, I'm Ben Mankiewicz, the new weekend daytime host here on Turner Classic Movies. You know, for as long as there have been movies, there's been a great tradition of just kicking back and watching a movie on a Saturday.
I can't even look up. I can't look up.
And we're starting it off today about the best way I know how, with good guys, bad guys, and horses for good measure. From Paramount in 1962, director John Ford's The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance. Okay, we're talking John Wayne and Jimmy Stewart, two of Hollywood's all-time greatest good guys, and they square off against Lee Marvin, one of the all-time greatest tough guys.
Just for the record, so we had this thing that the creative director at the time wanted to do, which was like shoot it with wacky angles so he's not looking right at the camera, which of course prompted many people on the message boards to be like, this guy's so bad, he doesn't even know where the camera is.
And for good measure, Marvin's sidekick is Lee Van Cleef. Now, you know Van Cleef is rotten just by looking at him.
All right, it's very painful to watch. The goatee was contractually required. I had it when I auditioned. They liked it. I swear to God, nobody believes me. It was item 1 of my contract. Before length of service, before money, it read, artists shall keep and maintain a goatee. Failure to keep and maintain a goatee shall be considered a breach of contract. It's horrible. I look like I'm about to be a villain in a bad 50s sci-fi movie.
These guys fit the mold of the great screen villains. Evil, sadistic, just plain mean. Think Darth Vader in a cowboy hat and spurs with considerably less heavy breathing.
I also didn't change anything that had been written back then. Like, I wouldn't have said that line. I think Darth Vader in a cowboy hat. But I was, for 3 years, terrified to change one word.
One thing I think is really interesting about this movie is that it was shot on a back lot in Hollywood.
This is why people hated this.
Famous for making these big, expansive westerns shot on location in the Monument Valley, like Fort Apache or She Wore a Yellow Ribbon.
So when people like to criticize people on TV, there's a lot of talk about hands, what they're doing with their hands. But it is very hard to figure out what to do with your hands. Because when you're talking, you know, you're just to people, you tend to move them. But every movement is exaggerated. And you're not talking to someone, you're talking to a camera. It's tricky to be natural because this is an unnatural environment. But I see a person struggling. But on one level, the more I watch this, the more I think I was okay. Like, at least I have some energy. Thank God. I was definitely nervous, though.
The landscapes in those films help drive the story, give you a real sense of scope. So this film seems small and claustrophobic by comparison. Lots of night shots, lots of interiors.
What were they thinking? The camera's over here.
Tone. It stands out as being distinctly dark.
Anyway, they got rid of that, not looking at the camera thing, but everybody was like, this dumb son of a bitch doesn't even know where the camera is. The message boards, they weren't super kind to me in the beginning, I gotta be honest. But you give me 23 years, I'll win most of you over.
Ben Mankiewicz back here at the first ever TCM Classic Film Festival. Hope you enjoyed The Defiant Ones. And I am sitting with one of the stars of The Defiant Ones, Tony Curtis.
No, I'm Sidney Poitier.
I'm sorry, sitting here with one of the stars of The Defiant Ones, Sidney Poitier.
Yes, so this is at the first festival. And I was nervous even then because he wasn't feeling great and it was tough to get stories out of him. But I still talked too much in that interview.
Your character in the movie undergoes a very significant transformation in the film.
Yes, and so does the Sidney Poitier character.
So does Poitier's character, yeah.
They're both of us have contributed something of a change.
I want him to tell the story about how Tony Curtis, the bigger star than Sidney Poitier at the time, 1958, insisted that rather than being billed first, or maybe even before the name of the picture, Tony Curtis insisted that his name and Sidney Poitier's name come up together. Poitier had yet to win an Oscar. He was an established actor, but he wasn't on Tony Curtis's level. So it was an incredibly kind, decent, human thing that Tony Curtis did. Also important in the slow progress of race relations to say, hey, this is a movie about a white guy and a black guy. The white guy and the black guy are going to be on screen at the same time.
You wanted to play it as soon as you read it, though, right?
I did. I read it. And the only thing that I objected to was the billing.
So what did you do?
I just said I'm not going to do it unless you change the billing quota. And they did.
Meaning make it equal. Tony Curtis,
Yeah,
Sidney
Tony
Poitier.
Curtis, Sidney Poitier in the Defy ones, which it should have been.
Yeah.
You couldn't have made the movie any other way, you know?
Well, Tony, thank you for taking
I
the
thank
time
you,
to talk to
sir.
us.
It's been a privilege. Follow the yellow brick road. Follow the yellow brick road.
And
Follow the yellow
apparently,
brick
Tony Curtis is out.
So it was this sort of nice moment. I thank him, we move on, and then he hits the yellow brick road. I didn't know what he was doing. I think he wanted to show off that he could use his legs. He was wearing a cowboy hat and shorts. You don't see that a lot. And what people want now, we know better. They want like these wonderful, authentic moments rather than things that are rehearsed. And I guarantee you that was in no way, nobody briefed me that Tony Curtis would be wheeling off stage right. So yeah, I think I did okay there. But by then we're 7 years into TCM and the executives are showing a tiny bit of confidence. Not a lot, but a little.
TCM was getting along pretty good in 2003 when I showed up with my goatee and my shocking lack of neckwear. The community, the TCM nation that Robert had managed to create wasn't going to change. It wasn't going anywhere. And most importantly, Robert wasn't going anywhere. And what he managed to do with this enormous amount of goodwill that he created is that he enabled me to step into that goodwill and gave me time to sort of be nurtured inside that goodwill. And it changed my life in ways that I could never possibly imagine.
I got some of what Robert probably felt in the beginning, which was like, hey, wait a minute, this is my job, right? So it took him a moment to warm up to me. You know, he made me nervous just because he invented this thing. He figured out, you know, Robert's early intros were like 4 minutes long, and they were like, turns out it's too long. People can say they want more information from the intro, but after about 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes, people are like, let's go.
I've never tried to be like Robert. That is an endeavor doomed to failure. But I have never stopped listening to him. I have never stopped learning from him, and I never will. And I am profoundly grateful for all that he and the network have done for me.
At some point this year, I will have been on the air at TCM longer than Robert Osborne. I can't believe that.
I would like to offer a little bit of advice.
I gotta go.
No, stay.
Robert was great, and Alex Trebek was great. They were both really kind to me at the end, and it's emotional seeing them there because they're, you know, Robert really blessed my presence here, and Alex said publicly that I should be one of the people considered to replace him on Jeopardy. I'm still waiting for that call.
I want you to look at our hair. This is what awaits you. You're nice and dark now, but you're gonna be just like us in a few years.
This is the moneymaker.
I'll never be Robert Osborne to the fans, and I don't expect to be, but I can continue that legacy that he started, and I can show it the proper respect and take it seriously. And Lord knows I take this job seriously.
One of my regrets is the fact that Ben lives in Los Angeles and I live in New York. We very rarely have been together except on the cruise and at the festival. So I hope that in the future things would happen that I could get to know you better, because people do put us together and people are always giving me messages to give to Ben. And the fact is that I never see Ben.
Also, I'm pretty fantastic. I'm delightful.
To get to know, I'm sure.
That was a significant moment. And some TCM staffers who'd worked with Robert a long time told me that that was a significant moment, that he was significantly moved by what I'd said. And his embrace that he gave me there on stage and then off stage was sort of more intense than any moment that we'd had together previous. And I was happy to be part of that day. I'm really happy we gave Robert that too.
I know from all the times that we've spent together how much these movies, the movies that we show on TCM, the movies that these people in this theater love,
What's up, Mel?
they formed your outlook on life. They framed your sense of right and wrong. I know how much you love these movies.
Yes.
Mel Brooks is a singular personality, but he is fairly representative of TCM fans. TCM is part of how many of our fans define themselves. They see TCM as a defining characteristic in their lives, and Mel is, I think, one of those people.
And I just want to add
Oh my God, I'm such a wuss.
how much I'm grateful for everything you've done for me. I love you, and I thank you for showing up here tonight.
I love you. My pleasure.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mel Brooks.
Thank you.
When Mel Brooks checks in with you and asks you how you're doing and, invites you to lunch, it's nice. And this job has afforded me meaningful connections with a lot of actors I never would imagine I have. But I choked up talking about Robert and Alex Trebek, and apparently I choked up 10 years ago. It's not that hard to make me cry, so don't think anything magical happened here, okay?
Thank you for coming. I hate to leave, but I must go. Bless you.
This job matters to people. This is the responsibility that comes with us. I just feel incredibly fortunate to be able to carry on that legacy started by Robert. Every person here, whether they're on air, behind the camera, they know what this channel means to people, and they're doing everything they can to make sure that we're still doing this job. Somebody's still doing this job. We've been on 32 years, and somebody's still doing this 32 years from now.
Okay, before we show the movie, I want you to think about, because of course this is Barbara Stanwyck's movie, and she's my favorite actress. She's your mom's favorite actress. She's clearly one of yours. And it's her movie, and her just ability to shift everything she says. It's funny, she plays a liar, but every single thing she does is completely honest.
Yeah.
I mean, by honest, I mean like it's human. You understand why she's doing, right?
Yeah.
Oh, this is my daughter, Josie, who we had on for Kids Fans in December of 2025, and it was great fun. Those were some of the hardest interviews I've ever done, my daughter's included.
This is why I should be a lawyer.
Do you want to go? Do you think about being a lawyer sometimes?
Yeah.
How are you going to pay for law school?
Get a job.
We're many months out from there, and she still talks about being a lawyer. I thought she was kidding about being a lawyer. I was not kidding about who's going to pay for it.
How much better is this movie, to give an idea of full width, because of mainly Sidney Greenstreet and S.D. Sakal, who, to me, like everything they say is funny.
Yeah.
Felix! The judge is here. We shall need you as a witness.
But Mrs. Sloan, something happened. Something terrible. Catastrophe.
What is it?
I say catastrophe all the time.
Catastrophe, right?
Both days that we did this, I was full on exhausted. But we had these kids coming in and going to great trouble. You got to do it, unless your voice is gone. But if you can get out those sentences, you do it.
Shall we watch the movie now? We'll come back afterwards and
I think
talk.
let's watch the movie.
You feel like you did okay?
Yeah.
You want to toss to the movie the way your father does?
From Warner Brothers in 1945, Barbara Stanwyck, Dennis Morgan, S.C. Sakal, Sidney Greenstreet, and Reginald Gardner, Christmas in Connecticut.
Wow, that was so good.
I got to know my daughter better in that conversation, which is crazy. And ultimately, I think she did great. She was very poised, put together, talking about Christmas in Connecticut, which is a movie we started watching every Christmas. And it's, it's a great family tradition, but it's nice to see her do that. Anyway, but those are nice to see. I'm glad I got to see it. I do love seeing my daughter. I keep waiting for her. I want her to watch more classic movies. She's coming along. She's coming along nicely.